Can we talk about the fact that it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon? I'm chilling in my PJs still, and I have not done anything today. There's that. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you guys are new. Today's video is going to be one of my Real Talk series. If you guys haven't seen my Real Talk series before, I'm going to be talking about the hard-hitting issues and getting a little bit more personal with you guys about what it's like being a makeup artist. Sometimes I cover different controversial issues. Sometimes I just talk about my life and like updates for you guys. But today I'm going to be talking about mental health issues. So I will put a trigger warning in here. If you guys are dealing with like depression, anxiety, this might be a little bit more of a sensitive issue for you guys, and you might want to click out of here now. But if you guys do really want to know about personally how I deal with burnout, different struggles that you face mentally as a business owner and as a makeup artist, and I wanted to talk about being a introverted person. I think there's this huge misconception that you have to be an extrovert to be able to be successful as a business owner, and that is completely false in my opinion. If you guys are interested in those topics, then definitely go ahead and stick around for this. I am going to be doing my makeup at the same time, and as a bonus, I'm going to be using all drugstore / affordable makeup products. I will link everything that I use down in the description bar, so go ahead and check that out if you guys are interested in what I'm going to be using today, and let's go ahead and get started. I wanted to first start off by talking about just, I guess, the struggles of being a business owner and dealing with mental health simultaneously. Before, I think probably like the year maybe 2018, 2017, people just didn't talk about their issues online because they thought those people were like weird or they didn't want to be bogged down with their problems. But guess what? Everybody has issues. Everybody has something that is going on with their life that they're dealing with. There's not a single person that I have had a deep conversation with that has never had a mental health struggle at least once in their life. It's a serious problem that all of us deal with, and it's partially because of social media, just us comparing ourselves to what the perfect life is supposed to be like. Everybody always posts pictures on social media about the highlights of their life, but they never show what they do normally. The majority of the time, all of us are sitting around our houses, and then we only post whenever we're busy doing things because we want the rest of the world to see that we're busy doing things because we don't want to be a boring person. But you know what? It's okay to be boring. I figured out now that I'm getting close to 30 years old that it is okay to be boring. I'm perfectly okay with just chilling at home and being with my dogs. I don't have kids. I'm free to do whatever. I understand that. I can travel. I can do things with my husband. There's not many parties that I go to anymore. There's not many events that I go to anymore just because I personally don't really like going to them. If you were to go onto like my personal Facebook page, I rarely use that. Instagram is my main platform, but I don't even have a personal Instagram because I don't have enough shit to post on there to be able to keep up with it. So I mainly only have that business Instagram, and that's the only thing that I post on. A lot of people, always think that I'm booked and busy all the time, but guys, I only post when I'm busy. I don't post, obviously, my daily life of me watching YouTube or chilling and watching Pretty Little Liars reruns on Netflix because I'm super bored and don't have anything else to do. And that is my life about 80% of the time, but I'm not gonna post about it because that's super boring. Like, who would want to watch that, So that's why I only make vlogs, for instance, like whenever I'm really busy, and therefore it looks like I'm busy all the time because I only post when I'm busy. I used to compare myself with the people that went out all the time. They had a large group of friends, they hung out and went to parties and whatnot. That's not me as a person. I'm not that kind of individual that thrives off of like social connections with other people and then has that mentality where they just get really bored if they're not with people. I want you guys to realize that that's perfectly okay. Like, it is okay to be boring and not want to do things all the time. Ever since 2020, I feel like we all kind of became a little bit more introverted per se because we were forced to be introverted, couldn't go anywhere, had to wear masks everywhere, couldn't socially interact in large groups over 25. Like, it was a huge thing that changed our whole entire society. But what you really have to know though is that a lot of people were introverted before. They just never talked about it. And I feel like 2020 was the perfect excuse for introverts to hide away and it be completely normal. Whereas I think introverts before 2020 happened were more so seen as like these really weird people that, collected tarantulas and like lived in their basements or something. And that's not what it is. I actually do consider myself an introvert, and people are going to be very shocked by this. I have a YouTube channel, yes, and I am in the public eye. I totally get that, but I hate going to parties. I hate being in large crowds. I don't like going to concerts. Like, I would rather just chill by myself or with my husband or with my dogs or like a very close group of friends, just chill and watch a movie. I'm completely fine with doing that. I love having game nights. And it's not like I don't leave my house. I do. But I only leave my house when I like absolutely need to. I won't like voluntarily leave my house and just like go do something by myself because I'm way too self-conscious about it. I know that that is all a mental thing. I understand that. But yeah, it's just like one of those things though that I always thought was a problem before 2020 happened, and now it's kind of like more accepted because people accept introverts a little bit more. As I'm saying this, I also want you guys to keep in mind though that I did work for years, like 8 years in retail, in customer service with people interacting, and I did that between 2 different retail jobs for a really long time. So I was pretty much floating from like one retail job to the other, which was super draining now that I think about it. So I have had customer service experience, and I think that is the only reason why I do have very good customer service and social skills. Customer service experience, restaurant experience really does help you solidify yourself as a more personable person. I can definitely go out like in social situations and you would think that I'm an extrovert. Like you would think that I am a very extroverted person because I can pretty much talk to anybody. I can talk to anybody about anything, but it's just hard for me to like motivate myself to do so. I just don't like social situations because I find them very mentally and physically draining. I can definitely go like a whole entire day with people and then take a break at the very end, but I can't do that like multiple days in a row. I have to take like a whole entire 2-day break after that from seeing people and just completely shut myself in. Basically, the longer amount of time I am around people, the longer amount of recovery time it takes me. And I think this will probably resonate with a lot of people. I think a lot of people are like this, whether they want to admit it or not. At this point in time, comment down below if you guys are an introverted person, if you guys struggled with the label of being an introvert. Like, it's just kind of always had like a negative label, I think. Introverts were seen as these weird people, and then extroverts were the people that you wanted to make friends with, etc. And I just want that stigma to change. I've become like more of an introverted person as I've gotten older, just because you have like less opportunities to make friends as you get out of school and get older and whatnot. Like the only people that you really socialize with are people in your jobs. And since I am now self-employed without any employees, I don't really have a lot of social interaction with people. But to be totally honest, I'm actually okay with it. I've come to terms with it now. I wanted to be, you know, an extrovert, and I tried to fake being one, went out to like all these parties and like social gatherings and everything. And then people of course just kept inviting me out to places. And then eventually I got to the point where I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm so socially drained by this. Like it's really exhausting trying to pretend to be somebody that you're not. Then now I'm going to start talking about how this has affected me as a business owner. Making connections within your community is like the key element in building a really, really successful business. Obviously, the more people that know about you, the more business you're going to get. It's a problem, I'm not going to lie, if you are an introverted person, although it's not impossible. You just have to be strategic and try a little bit harder probably than an extroverted person normally would have to try. I mean, I think I've done pretty well for myself, don't get me wrong, but a lot of the reason why people know about me in my city is because of my YouTube channel. I am well known in my area and everything, but I've been doing this for 5 years now. This is going on my 5th year, but by no means though am I like a super good person at developing connections with people, and making the effort to go out and make connections is like the hardest freaking thing that an introverted person has to deal with in life. But as a business owner, you're almost kind of forced to do it. So luckily now at the 5-year mark, I have gotten to the point where I really don't need to like actively search out clients. They more so just come to me now. But at first when I started though, I reached out to multiple different people, and I always knew that I wanted to be a wedding vendor. So I reached out to photographers, florists, venues to get like on people's referral lists. I did a whole bunch of styled shoots with people where you basically get together like a model and somebody with a dress, maybe a florist, photographer, makeup artist, hairstylist. You all get together and then do this like styled shoot pretty much. And you can do styled shoots for like multiple different things. They don't necessarily have to be weddings. Like some of them are high fashion or editorial or like whatever niche that you're trying to get yourself into. And there are creatives in your area that will be more than willing to do that with you. Everybody does the work completely for free, and then everybody kind of gets paid in like the pictures and the exposure from other vendors. So that's pretty much how you would like gain connections with other people. But I did like a ton of styled shoots when I first began, and that helped me get connections with people because obviously people saw that I did really good makeup, and then they would in turn refer me to their clients, and it kind of just becomes a chain reaction at that point in time. I was also promoting myself like on Instagram, of course, on Facebook, making sure that all my Facebook followers like in my personal life knew that I was a makeup artist. So yeah, that's pretty much how that went as far as like actively advertising myself. However, now I've gotten to the point where clients are just automatically reaching out to me. But I don't think that started happening to me until like the beginning of last year. So basically like in my 4th year of being a makeup artist. But again, I put in a lot of freaking effort at first. I mean, it takes a lot of effort and a lot of social interactions, which I was not prepared for. So yeah, you can definitely make a name for yourself as an introvert and be successful as a business owner. As an introverted person, it's just going to take you 10 times the energy as somebody who actually likes being around people, but you definitely can do it. And then also, if you guys are an introvert and you're thinking about becoming a makeup artist and maybe haven't started it yet, keep in mind that it is also very socially draining, at least for me personally, to take on weddings. Having to have very surface level conversations for up to like 8 hours on end when you're doing makeup with people and floating in between each and every person is physically and mentally exhausting. I have obviously seen extroverts for makeup artists before, and they can just jump from like one client to another, float around to different jobs throughout the day, and then they're, you know, working pretty much from like 6 a.m. in the morning to midnight because they just love being around people. Not like I don't love doing my job, but I'm saying that it just is very like mentally draining for me to like take on a huge bridal party and then not feel like I want to just be alone in a room and just shut myself out from the world for like a straight week afterwards. So my best advice, if you guys have a similar situation or you guys have a similar, I guess, mentality to me, try to discover where your personal limit is at, and I've discovered mine. So if I have a really large bridal party, like over, I want to say maybe like 7 people, like if somebody contacts me for a special event, it either has to be so late in the afternoon that it's like a couple hours or more than that from when I ended my wedding, or it has to be a very small bridal party and then I'll be able to take a person afterwards, but it can't be like directly after a large bridal party. Otherwise, I get mentally exhausted, I can't perform my best, I can't do my best work, and I'm not also going to be emotionally there for the client. Like I'm not going to be invested in my work at that point in time, or maybe be as talkative because I've just sat for 8 hours that morning and talked to the people in the morning. I have definitely done that to myself before, and those are the times where I just feel like I didn't put out my best work. So when you force yourself to have those type of conversations, it's just really draining. And again, it's like you're almost doing like your clients a disservice because you're just not 100% there for them. So that's why I decided that I personally would not schedule myself any other appointments directly after a wedding party, especially if it's a very big one. And if it's a very large one, like about like 9 or 10 people large that I had to take by myself, I will not schedule anything afterwards. Like I am done at that point in time. People do not realize how challenging it actually is for a makeup artist sometimes. Like they just think that we do makeup and it's fun and like that's it, you know? And that's not how it is. Just wanted to kind of more so tell you like the realities of it and like also what being an introvert looks like as being a business owner and a makeup artist. The next thing that I wanted to talk about as far as mental health issues is just how you prevent yourself from burning out. Burnouts can happen a lot easier with introverted people than they obviously can extroverts because introverts need more social breaks. I don't even know if extroverts even need social breaks. I'm not even really sure how that works because I've never been one. But if you guys are an extrovert, let me know if you guys actually ever burn out or if you just can keep going and it doesn't really affect you. Most everybody experiences burnout at least once or twice in their life, but it happens a lot more frequently as an introvert and also as a business owner, because as a business owner, especially if you are a one-man show like I am, you do everything. Like you're doing all the marketing, you're doing all the social media, you're doing all of the job handling, you're doing all the communications with your clients, like you're it. And that's why obviously people hire out teams of people to manage their business for them, just so they're not responsible for doing so much. I would love to hire like a social media manager or somebody that could just manage like finances a little bit more. I don't think I would ever personally want anybody to handle like the communications with my clients or anything, because I personally just like love talking to people and love getting to know them. But as I was saying, usually if you are a owner of a business when you're first starting out, you're doing it by yourself. And after a while, it just becomes a little bit too much for your mental state to handle, and you eventually get to a point that's called burnout where you completely lose interest in what you're doing and you kind of just shut down. And I would almost see it as like a light state of depression almost, where you just don't physically feel like doing anything, you don't feel like doing your job, you don't feel like even getting out of bed. It's not chronic, like it doesn't last forever, but I mean, it's hard to get out of. You're mentally aware of the fact that it's happening, but you just don't know how to get yourself out of it. And then you're like mentally hitting yourself for not being able to get out of it. Every single time a burnout happens with me, it always takes me probably about like a solid like 3 weeks or so to get out of it. Kind of depends how long I've been like just going on a high for. But yeah, this usually happens to me personally around like really peak bridal season. So this happens like from pretty much April to July. And then it also usually happens sometime between September and October, because that are the two most common seasons for weddings near me. But it sucks. It really does suck. I'm not gonna lie. Have dealt with it for several years now. I gotta tell you that it doesn't get easier. People that like are thinking about getting into business for themselves and just want to know like maybe the downside of it or things that they need to prepare themselves for. This is the thing that you need to prepare yourself for. Like, you're going to have a burnout period and you're gonna have to find a way of coping with it before it actually lapses into something really severe. And I'm not opposed to going to see like a therapist or anything in case like it doesn't subside and it just kind of keeps continuing. But so far I've been able to handle everything by myself. I made a mental health video in another Real Talk series. I think it was around July of this past year. At that point in time, I was in like a mental rut and got really burnt out and almost went on to BetterHelp to go find a therapist to talk to, because it's hard, especially when you're, you know, doing this business by yourself. You may not have like a lot of connections or a lot of people to talk to. Most people work 9-to-5 jobs and they don't work for themselves and they don't really know what exactly you're going through. So it's really hard to like explain to somebody. So what really helps me is finding a couple of people that you can really talk to and really open up. Usually it's another makeup artist. I personally only have one person as of now that's a makeup artist that I vent to all the time, and we would just talk to each other about things that were like happening, or if we had like a frustrating bride or like an inquiry or something like that and we just didn't know how to respond. We would also go to each other like about pricing structures. So yeah, I just think that having some sort of person like another makeup artist in your same space is a really handy thing to have. The other thing that's helped me is just doing things that I love. I personally really love traveling. I love taking trips, and as much as you don't want to leave your house when burnout happens, you do need to force yourself to, because if you're sitting there and just feeling sorry for yourself, it's not going to help anything. Like, I'll just even walk through the neighborhood with my dog sometimes. Just getting fresh air is kind of helpful too. And just using that as an outlet, just getting out of your house physically helps you move on from the situation too. Then the other thing that really helps me too is doing meditation and like yoga sessions. It just kind of like helps me get in a better headspace, maybe listening to like quiet music or something, and just calming down my mind just so it's not racing a mile a minute and thinking about things. That's the one thing that happens too to me whenever I get into a burnout like this, is that I always get into this space where I just think about things constantly. I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Why can't I get myself out of this? So sometimes just having like little quick yoga sessions or meditation sessions in a quiet space just helps me a lot more to cope with whatever I'm dealing with. If you do really seriously have chronic depression and you feel like it's kind of going in that direction, that's not something that you want to live with, please consult with an actual therapist. And to be totally honest, you don't even need to have a reason to have a therapist. I know people that talk to therapists like once every week and they don't even have anything going on in their life. Like, it's just kind of nice to be able to vent to somebody that's a third person that is completely uninvolved with your actual personal life. Also, just a side note, I used to buy Victoria's Secret lip glosses all the time in high school, and they were also flavored too. Meanwhile, I got a flyer in the mail saying that the Victoria's Secret semi-annual sale was going on. I needed more sports bras, and that's a really good time to buy their stuff. When I was in the checkout lane, I saw all of their flavored lip glosses sitting right there. Let me go ahead and pick that up because this is going to be very nostalgic. I used to think that I was the coolest person ever. Victoria's Secret used to have this really sparkly brown lipstick that was chocolate flavored. I don't know if anybody is old enough to remember that, but I used to wear it all the time and like lick my lips because it used to taste like a chocolate syrup. And it was magical. I made everybody smell this lip gloss. Like, it was so funny. I was the person on the bus that was like, smell my lip gloss. I got it from Victoria's Secret. It's so cool. But anyways, yeah, so your girl had to pick up one of these. I don't know if this is like a limited edition scent for them or something, because it was on the $7 sale bin. I think it was a holiday thing. But this is called Rosé Bubbly. This is delightful. Almost like a sweet candy sort of smell. It has a little bit of iridescence inside of it, but it's mostly a clear kind of lip gloss. They definitely have changed their gloss formula over the years because I remember them being very, very sticky and annoying, and they are not sticky at all. Like, they're just glazes or oils almost. Like, it kind of feels like an oil on my lips. And yeah, I'm thoroughly a fan. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and end this video right now. Again, all the products that I used on my face will be linked in the description bar down below. Go ahead and let me know if you guys did enjoy this video, and if you did, definitely go ahead and give it a big thumbs up. Also, if you guys have not subscribed to my channel, I do upload a ton of makeup artist related content, so if that is something that you guys are interested in, then definitely go ahead and subscribe to my channel. As always, I hope you guys are having an absolutely fantastic day, and I will talk to you guys in my next video. All right, bye.